Okay, so I'm here with help from my son, and we're going to see how effective or ineffective certain types of masks are. This is in no way a scientific test, but I thought that maybe the large particles from a fog machine could, maybe correlate to droplets filled with COVID, yada, yada, yada. Maybe it's not true, but it's a test anyway, just to see what it looks like. So we're going to start first with a normal, no mask. Let me show you the test setup. So basically we have a fog machine running through a metal tube, which empties into this chamber, and then this is the mouth orifice. So when someone breathes and they have no mask on, this could be essentially what's coming out of their mouth.
Seems like it's coming out of this part a lot.
So this is when they breathe out all of these particles. Obviously there's no filter, there's no nothing there.
There's some coming in from the back, so it's not like all.
Okay, it's fine. So these particles are warm, so when they first come out they might lift a bit, and then as they cool they start to sort of float down. Maybe that's how it happens in real life, I'm not really sure. But this fog wants to collect, probably, in low areas as it cools. Just watch the mouth hole.
So that's what happens when you blow.
That's what happens when you breathe with no mask. And this is what it looks like when you breathe through a sealed N95 mask. Okay, what comes out is slow moving, and it doesn't have that much energy. Hopefully it's also had time to cool so that the particles tend to float to the ground instead of going around in the air. Okay, they do come out, but they don't seem to be that energetic, and some of that could still be my test setup leaking. But I'd say that's pretty damn good. And it's also especially good because when you compare it to the regular breathing that spews out so much more. I'm not even adding any smoke. If we add smoke, see, that is what you get when you're breathing without any mask on. Let's try that again. Normal breathing spews out into the air until it can eventually cool down, and then it goes down to the ground. But I would say that covers more than 6 feet there.
Yeah.
Because the heated particles tend to want to float until they can cool and then fall to the ground.
It's like a pretty strong cough.
All right, Day, where's the bandana? Let's try the bandana again.
Yeah, because last time you had to seal.
All right, so just hold the bandana over his mouth there. Pretend like you're torturing him. Okay, so this is just a bandana and the mouth hole is right there. So, actually not too bad, just with a little puff here. Okay, let's try and add some breath out.
Yeah.
Okay, but even with the breath out, see, it slowed it down. It's not the direct spewing line that you saw without a mask. This is slowed the velocity of the particles down, which is, I think, kind of the point. Let me see, where's the switch here? See, it just kind of creates a small bubble around your mouth, and then the particles have time to cool. So The particles did not travel 5 and 6 feet up into the air like they did with the without the cloth. Okay, so now compare that to just a little breath. See? I'm not even adding smoke. I'm just pressing the bag a little. Just a little tiny breath, and it spews out in the air. You do a full breath, and yeah, you have COVID transmission there. Of course, this is not a scientific test in any way, so please don't use these results in any kind of, critical applications here, but it's just an anecdotal test to see what happens. Dad, can I have the black mask? We were just curious and wanted to test out some different methods here, and thought that we would try our smoke machine as the breather. Here, can you hold this and point it at the mask? And I will apply the sealant to the face of our victim here. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like if you had a properly sealed mask, which of course hardly any of these masks are ever perfect, but if you could get a really good seal around your mouth, this is how these masks would perform. And this is just a standard disposable black mask. I think I got these actually located.
Yeah.
And let's see. And it's still coming out from around your mask. So wherever your mask seals, that's going to be the critical point. But unlike straight breathing, it still slows the velocity way down and kind of contains where the smoke is going to go. Again, didn't spew straight out like with no mask at all. All right, so we will try the N95. We'll try to properly seal it, and we'll see how that looks. Okay, and now this is meant to represent what it's like wearing an N95 mask that's well sealed to your face. Apologies, the smoke that you're seeing is actually coming from our test chamber that's not perfectly sealed. Yeah, well, we're doing the best we can with the little we got here, so. Okay, and this is meant to represent what it's like to wear an N95 mask that is well sealed around your face, as they should be. So I'm gonna hit it for just a second to simulate a breath. Some of this smoke is coming out of my chamber in the back here. Apologies for that, there's not much I can do about it. Okay, so again, as compared to breathing without a mask, it significantly slows down the speed of the particles, and very little came out. I'm probably most of this is coming out of my test chamber in the back, or through the various spots where I haven't sealed it well because I'm using tape instead of the bands. Yeah, again, none of this is perfect or meant to be perfectly scientific, but we just wanted to see what would happen. Okay, so some of that comes down, and the velocity is so slow that the air current just carries it away wherever the air current is blowing.
None of them seem to keep it out entirely, but they all seem to slow it down very good.
Yeah, basically any mask seems to slow the particles down to the point where they are much less of a problem, it seems, than if you were to take your mask off and just breathe even a little. See, I'm not even applying the fog machine. This is just little pressure on the bag, and it's just puffing it out. If I actually gave a little breath, it just shoots straight out into the world. So anybody around you just breathes in your particles. And they float up and they travel around until they cool enough that the large particles can fall down to the ground. So anyway, that's our non-scientific test about why you should probably always be wearing a mask of some sort. And the problem gets worse when there's air currents blowing wind around, or maybe fans or things like that, because it can just push the particles that much farther. So, yep, that's our science for the day. Take care. Bye. Okay, I don't know what this is going to show, if anything, but there's some smoke in here, and I'm breathing through the standard mask that I use.
Yeah, I can see the smoke in here.
And I gotta say, just by smelling, I smell less of the sweet fog smell with the mask on than I did just in the room. If that means anything, which it probably doesn't, but.
This mask is like French. You're already testing.